Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Office Hours. Welcome. Let me know if you can see me and hear me okay. I'm doing another one of my tech tests here. I've got a variety of different things that I'm trying here in terms of cameras and microphones and all that good stuff. So let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear, please. And thank you for joining me. All right, you can see me and hear me. Perfect. How is the sync between my camera and my audio? Because I know last time there was a delay, I think, in between what you were seeing and what you were hearing, just a brief delay. Curious how that is now. Still off. Got it. Okay. Let me try something. If you guys don't mind, let me experiment here real quick. While I'm doing that, again, welcome to Office Hours, everybody. Thank you. And thank you for the flexibility on the timing of the Office Hours call here. I have I'm like a lab rat. I'm doing all of the biohacking stuff and everything. And so I've got a whole bunch of tests that I have to go in today. So I appreciate it. Let me just adjust. I'm going to try something here real quick. Okay, how's the sound now? And how is the sound and sound and video connection? Did we fix something there? Or is it still off? Still slightly off. Interesting. Well, I don't know what to do about that. Then I think that sounds better and still off. Okay, let me try one more. Let's try one more here real quick. All right, now, how's the sound now? Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't change anything. I goofed up, didn't I? Hold on. Okay, now how is the sound? Is the sound synced up with my mouth? How are we doing? For what it's worth, you're not as bad as a dubbed Kung Fu movie. Perfect. Is it any better now? Last one was better. Okay. All right, we're going to go back. Yeah, still off. Okay. I think that the reason for that is because I'm using this webcam, and I think that the webcam is just, it's got to be hardwired into my MacBook, and I think that is causing just a little bit of delay in the processing that is throwing it off with the voice. So I can do, let me just check if we want to do different camera. I feel like the camera is so much better quality though. Yeah, that camera just sucks compared to that one. All right. Gotta love tech when it works. Yes, exactly. All right. If this is bearable, we're going to stick with it. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and put on a mic and record myself as well. So I'll have good audio, and I can always sync up my good audio with my mouth later on using some fancy editing. All right. Definitely bearable. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you again so much. Thank you for your patience in the scheduling, and also thank you for your patience in letting me experiment with you and my technology. I am going on the road here tomorrow, early morning, heading to Mexico for a week. And I know that I will be traveling a lot here over the next year. And my goal is to be just as productive when I'm traveling as when I'm at home. And that includes being able to do, live stream calls and things like this. So just trying to experiment with the different technology. Maybe what I need to do is I just need to go out and buy a brand new MacBook, because it's an excuse to go get a brand new MacBook. I have no idea if that will help at all, but I just want a new MacBook. So maybe we'll do that. Office hours, as most of you likely know, but in case we have any new folks, is pure Q&A. And so I'm just trying my best to be helpful. So any questions that you have, you can put them in the comments. I will also include a link here in case anybody wants to join me on camera. So if you have anything longer to discuss, more complex, needs some more back and forth, maybe needs to share your screen, anything like that, then you can join me using that link right there. Okay? Otherwise, I will field your questions as they come and do my best. And I will have a hard stop at 10 a.m. here, 50 minutes from now, because I do have to get to that doctor's appointment. Okay. Okay, Alvin says, Mike, I'm starting to feel like I'm stalling out. Your thoughts on running more than one foot in the door offer and have content and ads to support? Lost 275 with no traction on ads. Alvin, I understand. I understand that can be frustrating. That can be disappointing, make you feel like you're losing your Momo. I would encourage you to reframe how you're thinking about this. You have invested $275 in getting some awareness for your business. Okay. You're saying that you wasted no traction, feel like you're stalling out, lost 275. You invested 275. Okay. And I know, depending on where you're at financially, that can seem like a lot of money, and that can cause some serious stress if you're not getting the results that you're looking for. But I want to encourage you to a couple of things. One, realize that the way that sales cycles work with small businesses is that you have no idea, really. Unfortunately, you have no idea. There could be several prospects that are sitting back there and thinking about your services and just haven't taken action yet. That's the sales cycle of selling B2B, right? So that is a very, very real possibility. There are also now just multiple businesses. Who knows how many businesses? I mean, you would know from the stats that you have from your ads, but there are now businesses that know who you are and can be tuning in and paying attention to you. And so you definitely have some options here. One is you can stall out and maybe even go backwards, or maybe even stop. Then your $275 truly is lost, and your effort that you've put into this point is lost. Or you can look at it and understand that you are just getting started, man. You are that is again, I want to be cautious with my words, because I understand that everybody's in a different financial position. But starting a business and promoting it, awesome, good, Alvin, I love it. starting a business and promoting it and spending $275 is a very, very small investment to get a business going. I mean, that's a tiny investment to get a business going. So if you look at like starting a franchise for a major brand that you know, a major franchise brand, a Subway or something like that, and you look at the amount of marketing budget that they require you to have for the first year to get that started, you might be a little shocked at how much it is, because this is a major brand you're talking about. They've got all of the, brand recognition already, and you're investing in their franchise. And so it's kind of like, well, shouldn't I just be able to piggyback on that brand recognition? The reality is they required you to have tens of thousands of dollars in marketing budget in that first year. And then you will in each year after that. But they know that you still have to market it. You still have to spend that money that aggressively to get things going. So try as much as possible to understand that for $275 invested, if we look at the typical metrics of getting a small business customer, typical metrics are between $500 and let's say $2,500 to get a small business customer. That's how much sales and marketing cost is invested to get each customer. And it can go way up from that. It doesn't really go down from that. $500 is a pretty low number. So you technically haven't even invested as much as it would take to get just one customer. Okay. And that is assuming, if you're thinking about it as in, okay, I have to spend $500 to get a customer. Well, that's assuming everything goes perfectly well the very first time that you're out trying to run ads and get a customer. So that would assume that you've got your ads dialed in, you've got your offer dialed in, you got your message dialed in, people come to your website and they trust you, right? They actually want to make contact with you. That would assume that your ability to sell and close the deal is actually dialed in, right? That would assume a lot. And I would argue that if we're just getting started, any of us are just getting started, we're not there yet on any of that stuff. We are a work in progress. And so you should expect that, especially over the first handful of months, 6 months, everything is going to take longer, be harder, feel more expensive than you want it to be. And that is just reality, because as you said, Alvin, it is about refinement over time. Over time, you start to dial in, oh, here's the message that worked. Here's the ad that worked. Here's the offer that I made that worked. But it all takes time. It all takes time and it all takes investment. So I encourage you to just be patient and continue to refine. That being said, Alvin, do you want to give me some details about what your foot in the door offer is that you're running? Oh, it's a missed call text back. Okay, cool. And when you say that you got no traction, what does that mean to you specifically? You got no clicks on the ads, nobody opted in for something, nobody booked an appointment with you. Maybe give me some details on what the call to action was, just to see if I can help you there. Because anytime I'm running ads and I feel like it's not getting the results that I want, I just break it down step by step, starting at the very beginning. Am I getting a click-through rate that seems ideal, right? Okay, so you got clicks and video watched. Alvin, awesome, cool. There you are. I'm going to put you on here. What's up, bud? How are you?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, give me the details.
All right, yeah, I'm at work, so I was trying to text, but yeah, we good. All right, so I ran the ad. The first ad I ran was just instead of boosting a post, I ran a post as an ad, and I put $5 behind it.
Okay.
It got clicks, and I did learn that you had to put your pixels on the website. So That's all set up and good.
Cool.
What I'm getting is I'm getting people the impressions, I'm getting the reach, but there's no click through rate. There's nobody's booking an appointment. Nobody is trying my missed call text back number. I did a video behind that when the video is getting views, but there's no traction on as far as anyone actually trying the phone number. So that's what it's coming down to. Nobody's clicking the phone number or dialing the phone number to jump into the automation workflow, and there's nobody's booking no appointment.
Okay, cool. And how many clicks and or views of the video have you tracked yet? Do you know the number?
I don't know the full numbers. I know when I look at it this morning before I went out to work at 6, I know that I had 83 views on the latest video that I did. The clicks, I think it was like 126 on the post.
Cool. Okay.
So I'm getting traction, but there's not the positive traction I'm looking for.
Yeah. But look, this is a good start. You're getting people to actually pay some attention, especially the clicks. I mean, if you're getting 120 clicks, you're actually getting somebody that is taking the time to click on something. Video views are a little bit more wishy-washy because we're all scrolling through our feeds and something shows up, and if I pause even for a few seconds on that video, they're probably counting as a video view. So that's a much more passive engagement. But somebody clicking on something is a good sign. It says that there's something about the message that's working, it's resonating, it's getting them to stop and take that action. So that's good. Do you have any idea what the click-through rate was on those ads where you're getting those clicks?
I don't know if I can do this. All right, I was trying to jump out and go into the my Facebook ads and look at it. 1 second. Give me.
So while he is working to pull that up, what we want to do with campaigns like this is we want to work our way backwards and just
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There's actually the CTR that I looked at just now, and I know I briefly might be clicked on the wrong one, but it's nothing, 0. So on the one I just looked at, I don't know which ad I actually looked at just now. I was just trying to do it quick because I'm not on the computer, but it's nothing on that side.
Okay. So it sounds like there's some, there's some information that's missing if you're getting 120 clicks, but then it says 0 on the ad.
I'm running multiple ads, same all of it missed call text back, but the one that I looked at just now, there was nothing on that one, and I spent maybe like $16. So that might be the latest one. And if I was on my computer, I can actually pull up both screens and actually tell you the exact numbers.
Okay. Well, so let me just give you some feedback on it so that you can take a look as you're going. So when you have the opportunity to kind of dig into it, for a click-through rate, we want to see like a minimum of, let's call it like a 2.5% click-through rate. So if we're getting anything there or above, I would say don't worry about that right now. If you're getting anything less than that, then I would say we have room for improvement in our messages, in our image, whatever it is that we're doing to get people to stop and actually pay attention. So you can do some work on that. If somebody is then clicking through, and you said you're promoting a post, I think, right? So this is like it's a post on Facebook, and is it leading to like a blog post on your site, or what is it?
All right, so I'm running 3. Is one of it's a few of them. There's a blog. I mean, not a blog post. What did you call it? It's running a post where I just talked about missed call text bags. It's like, hey, you missed $2,500 in 30 seconds. Here's how. and then it tells you like at such time the person called, you didn't call back, and the next person booked them, and it can be solved by missed call text back. That's a post that I'm running, and is the other one is straight to my landing page, and another one is to what you call it, just trying the number. So it's the missed call text back number.
Okay. So what I would recommend, and when you say that first one is a post, it's actually text like in the Facebook post. You're not taking them to like a blog post on your website or anything.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. I would recommend that. Well, and actually on the landing page that you're sending people to it's to book an appointment.
Yes, it's the book appointment, and I also has a button in there as well called to try to demo live.
And does it have a video on that landing page of you like explaining the concept, or what is it?
Just documents. It's very brief. It's documents, but now that you mentioned, I might need to put a video on there.
Yeah. Okay. So my concern here, my guess is that if you're getting clicks, that what you're taking them to is just not really well. It's probably not well designed right now for educating them on really what it is that is their opportunity and what it is that is your service to fix that. Like before we can expect them to take the action of opting in or booking an appointment or calling that number, we need to give them some real, compelling education on here's what, a missed call is costing you. I understand that you did that in your post, but I think like on the landing page, we need to make sure that that is communicated. I think ideally in a video from you, video and text combination is great, but something where you're explaining to them, hey, small businesses, if you're reliant on phone calls at your business, each phone call is worth X dollars, and on average, statistics show you're missing, X calls a week. That translates into this much money. We have a solution for you that can easily help reconnect you with those missed opportunities. Here's what it is. Here's how you can demo it. But we need to explain that to give them that education before they're going to be willing to take that next step. So my guess is that we should work on that. And I would pick one place to send all your traffic right now. Like you've got a few different variables going on, and anytime you're trying to get something started and get a new service like this going, I would just pick one place to send them to. And to me, it would be a landing page with that video explanation of the service. Here's how you can demo it. Here's how you can get in touch with us if you'd like more information. I would have all of that on a landing page. And then that way you've just got the variable of what are the ads that you're running, and then the one place that you're sending them to that you can try and get conversion. Otherwise, I think that, like I said, you're going to have so many variables going on. It's going to be hard to test, and it's going to be hard to kind of nail down what's working and what's not. Does that make sense?
It does. It does make sense. And I was thinking by testing different variables that I can find which one works the best. That's the angle I was looking at it. But what I'm getting from you is cut back try to demo with the phone number and stop that ad and focus more on sending them straight to the landing page that has that demo number in it already.
Yeah. So you're right in terms of you could test more variables, and that way you could find what's working. But the challenge with that, Alvin, is that in order to do that, you really have to spend a lot more money. Every variable that you're testing needs enough traffic to it to actually test that variable. So every time you add more variables, you essentially multiply the necessary ad budget to be able to test that effectively. So
Right.
if you just pick one and give it your best shot and try and just dial that one in, now you can test variables in one spot. So the first variables I would have you test are just the ads themselves. Like, what are we doing to make sure that for every dollar that we're spending, we're getting as much click-through rate as possible? And then we can test on the landing page. What's the message? What's the call to action? But the most important thing here is that you're just staying in front of people with the message, and that you are driving them to a place that at least gives you a really solid chance at conversion. And typically that's a landing page. Landing page is a proven, tool for getting leads and getting people to convert. So I would just narrow it down to that.
All right. And last and final, would you take landing page over instant forms?
I would, because again, the education component. I think
Okay.
that, and when we say either or, I always hesitate on this stuff because if you told me, hey, Mike, I'm doing a bunch of educational videos that I'm sharing on social media and blog posts that I'm sharing on social media, and I'm putting out content every day, and I'm coming at people with a bunch of different angles that are totally educational, and then it's taking them to that opt-in form, the built-in form, I would say, okay, that could work because you're doing all of that education up front. But if
Okay.
you're not putting out a bunch of content like that consistently, and you're just running a more simple ad that's like, hey, small businesses, you're missing out on opportunities. Let us show you how to fix them. And then that's taking them to a landing page. Then you've got to do the work on that landing page. If you send them to just an instant form, you wouldn't have the real estate and the time really to do the education that you need. You're going to have to do that education on the landing page.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And I appreciate it, man.
You bet. Keep me posted.
All right. Well, I have more information next week when we go.
Awesome. I love it. All right. We'll talk to you soon, Alvin.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Let's see here. Digital Maestro. Welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks. And yourself?
I'm great. Thank you. How can I help you?
So thanks for all the office hours through the past few months that I've been joining.
You bet.
I did sign up, as I mentioned, for the $297 package now.
Cool.
So it seems to be like with unlimited sub accounts, I can go crazy and test things and look at
exactly
things. My business, we currently have about 86 clients that we've built websites for. We help with some of their marketing, care plans, etc. So now with HighLevel, what I would like to do is offer them some sort of package, and let them know that this is now available to them and we can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of go after the easier market first, since I have plenty of people that I can, even if I get a handful to 10 of them, right, that's a nice little bump and will help the learning process of what needs to get done.
Absolutely.
So with that said, one of the questions is kind of the best practices of ways to set things up. My clients are not just landscapers, right? It's the whole scope of different markets, which seems to make it more difficult because I'm not just creating one snapshot for, authors or one snapshot for, right? And it's all over the place. So with that in mind, what do you suggest is the best way to sort of create a snapshot to be used for this client and this client and this client? Or should I create multiple snapshots and have them for each of those markets as I start to go into it?
Yeah, I would start with like the approach that we're taking with our R6 snapshot. So if you look at the R6 snapshot and you look at the R6 frameworks that it's based off of universal concepts, right? Mm-hmm. That, reputation and resell and things like that. These are words that apply to every small business. Readiness, right? So these are all concepts that every small business needs to execute on. And so if you look at the snapshot, let's take as an example, readiness. In our snapshot, there's a variety of different readiness workflows and campaigns. And what readiness means is just that you're ready for business. You're ready to respond to the prospects and customers that are contacting you and want to do business with you. So that can come in the form of responding to phone calls, It can be responding to text messages, social messages, email, email opt-in, calendar booking. So we have workflows that are in place for all of those different scenarios to make sure that a business can follow up and be ready for business.
Okay.
So you can take that, you can apply that universally to any business. Because you're working with a variety of different industries, you may need to update the actual content.
Sure. Yep.
Right, in those campaigns. But that's pretty darn quick and easy to do given the combination of AI and the templates and things that HighLevel has available to you now. But that's what I would start with. I would start with a snapshot that is based on just those universal concepts. I would then, when I sell a customer, just kind of look at, okay, based on this customer and their industry, here are the components of that snapshot that I'm actually going to utilize for them. They're not all going to be applicable to every business, and just kind of pick and choose and then do your updates based on, that specific business. It really, it doesn't take that much time. It's not that difficult. Like once you kind of wrap your head around it, it's pretty easy to execute that way.
Okay. Yeah. So in the training, I saw, one of the suggestions you said was take the R6 snapshot, use it for yourself, and then take another one. And I'm like, oh man, I've been using it for like 6 months now for my business. So everything's already in there and I've been building my own. So if I create a snapshot or a sub account for the R6 snapshot, I go, ooh, I like what you're doing in this automation. Is it possible to copy just from one snapshot to another? Real easy, just pieces of it? Is that?
Yeah. So you're not copying from one snapshot to another. You're copying from one sub account to another, and then you're creating a snapshot from that sub account. Does that make sense?
So you have to copy a complete snapshot to a sub account.
You don't have to. No, you can copy bits and pieces. So if you have a sub account and
if I create the sub account, the R6 snapshot, boom, and that's the full sub account with everything in there. And I go, I don't know, the birthday message automation.
Yep.
I can take it just from one of that sub account and copy it to another sub account.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep. And you can also load in, so take a new sub account and say, I want to load in the R6 snapshot, but then go through and choose the bits and pieces from the R6 snapshot that you want to load in instead of loading the whole thing.
Everything.
Yeah. So you could do either of those scenarios. And copying from one sub account to another, I think now HighLevel has that pretty universal. There was a period of time where it was like some things you could copy from one sub account to another, but other things you couldn't for whatever reason, like they just hadn't gotten their copying, applied throughout the whole system. I think that's taken care of now. You may run into some spots where it's not. And then again, you can always just load it in from a snapshot instead of sub account to sub account.
Okay. Great. All right.
Cool.
That's it. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Yeah, get out there and get after it. I mean, those are the best opportunities in the world. I love there was nothing more exciting to me than selling new services to our existing customer base, because it felt like all of a sudden free money was falling out of the sky. So, that should be a real nice opportunity for you.
What do you think would be the best? Well, next quick question. What do you think is the best way to reach out to current clients to talk about these? Would it be individual calls and be specific, kind of do a general video training / introduction of things, and invite everybody, combination?
The answer with this stuff is always all of the above. So whatever you can do to make as big of a stink out of it as you can, your sales are going to go up because of it. So what I always did was I always did some sort of direct mail campaign as an announcement. And that's, let's say you've got 100 customers. It doesn't cost very much at all to do a direct mail to all 100. And it makes an impression. It's like, oh, wow, we just got something in the mail from the company instead of just digital, and emails. So I always did that, and then just did a follow-up blitz in terms of, hey, you probably got the thing that we sent you in the mail. We're very excited to announce that we have this new service available. We would love to talk to you about it. You can expect a call from somebody on our team, or if you'd like to go ahead and book a time to talk about it, go ahead and hit this link and book a time on our calendar. So then we would have our team outbound calls, making sure that all of our customers got reached, and just staying on top of it. And from that initial blitz, we would always get real good sales. But then, as always, it's continuing to just follow up and make that new service have a real presence in your marketing from that point forward, and you'll just continue to drive more sales.
Okay, great. All right, thanks so much.
You bet. Of course. Good luck. Thank you for being here. We'll talk soon.
Be well. Bye.
Alan, how's it going, sir?
Interesting.
All right. Lay it on me.
Hence the couple of questions I've got. So as well, I'm fairly new at this, 2 or 3 months in. I've got up to 6 clients, actually about 5 months in thinking about it. Got up to 6 clients.
Good man.
With monthly recurring revenue. So I thought, oh, doing okay. Yeah. But I've had to cut one off because they hadn't paid for 3 months. Yeah. And I've given plenty of warning and everything else. And it was, oh yeah, we'll pay. And then it never happened and so on. So eventually I just said, look, we're going to move on.
Yeah.
I've lost 2 others who have pivoted in their business. Yeah. And are now thinking, going off in a different direction, don't need a system short term while they get their act together and everything else. So it's like, well, I paused the accounts, but I'm assuming they're lost for now. So I'm looking at this thinking, okay, am I doing this right? Because I'm going for the 297, 497 level with an upfront fee. Yeah, bearing in mind I'm in the Middle East in Dubai, so everything's translated into dirham. But I'm trying to do a good job then as a sales and marketing system. So I'm trying to implement in the clients I've got things that are going to drive sales. So I'm doing reputation management and so on, but I'm also looking at helping them build a database, clean the data from a spreadsheet, all that stuff as well, put lead magnets out there and so on. But I'm concerned that I'm not selecting the right opportunities in the first place. And I'm from a sales background, so I think I'm qualifying, but there's things that are happening that are well beyond my control. And I'm looking back and thinking, okay, is it a choice of client or is there something else? Yeah. So that whole retention thing is wobbling around in my mind as what can I do differently?
Yeah. What kind of businesses are these?
So the 2 well, I've got 3 that have definitely just signed a new one, which is a wealth management company. So they do in this region, expats put various financial instruments together and so on for them. So they're a new client signed up a couple of weeks ago. I've got a polyclinic, does DNA and NAD testing and various other things. Yeah, they've been a longer term client. The one that was struggling financially was a furniture manufacturer. Yeah, and I think they were struggling financially anyway. Yeah, from what I could see in some of the stuff going on in the background. So that's, they're gone. And then the other one that has pivoted, they've gone into the developing, they've basically got another partner who has his own marketing system and develops everything themselves. So they've basically gone that route, but they've changed their business model as well.
Got it.
So I think, I've got to expect that clients will change, will evolve. I've pivoted from a photography business to doing this, but I'm just thinking, how can I get smarter or get more coverage, which would be the other angle. Yeah, so if I lose one, I've got another 5 that are coming in. So I do have a bit of a pipeline of 3 or 4 that I'm doing quotes and just trying to close them at the moment. Yeah, so all is not lost, but it's just causing this little crisis of confidence. Am I picking the right ones?
Yeah, of course. No, that's good. It's good feedback, obviously, to pay attention to. I think that, so
I've not niched down. Sorry, I've not niched down yet.
Yeah. So my initial impression of the types of customers that you have are that these are harder customers to market.
Okay.
What I mean by that is like a wealth management firm. Really, what they need to do in terms of marketing is like really robust content. Having that content out there, being very consistent about it over time, doing very consistent follow-up newsletters to their prospects, case studies of how they can help, they've helped these types of clients save on taxes and all that type of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that per se. It's just that if you're going to succeed with that kind of customer, there's a couple of things that are really important. One is that you've got to be prepared to offer a pretty robust service like that. It's more of like a marketing consultant, marketing agency type of service where you need to be charging more money, and you need to be like really ready to produce like that kind of content, that kind of strategy, and help them with that at that level. And then two, you've really got to have a customer that is bought into understanding, hey, this is a little bit of a slower roll. This is a more strategic long-term thing. And so I've got to be prepared to make this investment, over 6 months to a year before I even expect to see much out of it. It's not an overnight thing. So those are challenging customers. And I'm not saying that you can't do them. I'm just saying that they are challenging customers that you have to be prepared that there's a longer, more complex service cycle for them.
But interestingly enough, Mike, if I take the wealth management one, this business has been going 11 years and has about 8 employees and things, and has been largely successful because of the owner, who is really good at what she does and salesperson and everything else, but no systems really to talk of. So really what I'm coming in, this sort of marketing strategist, advisor and so on, is really what the role is becoming, because I'm helping them define some of those systems, some of the sales processes, how they follow up and those things. It's interesting, and I'm finding a number of the prospects I'm talking with are like that. They're at that cost. They might have been going 2 or 3 years, but don't have the infrastructure in place or the process. And that's what I'm trying to push, is the sales and marketing system approach.
So I like that. I like it in concept. The couple things about it. One, I want to make sure that you're getting paid properly, because if you're going in there and doing that kind of strategic advisory work, just got to make sure that there's enough, meat on the bone in terms of your deal that you're doing with them. Which can be fine. You can structure that as an upfront kind of consulting arrangement, and then your job is to put the system in place for them, and then you're getting the recurring revenue from that system over time. That's great. So as long as those customers are, again, of the mindset that that's what we're buying into and that's what we want and need, then I think that's good. That's fine. I just want to give you the alternative, though, and I want to make sure everybody else understands really the differences between that type of customer and a customer that is more of just a typical operational small business. Let's say it's a plumber, something like that, right? Plumbers have very short sales cycles. They have, you can run an ad today and get calls to a plumber today. You can set up a system for missed call text back and show them today that you texted back 7 missed calls. You can put a simple follow-up campaign in place for new leads and show them that you close some new business in 72 hours, right? I mean, these are businesses that have a much faster pace and just kind of operational rhythm to them.
Yeah.
They're not very complex at all. The content that's required to market them is not very complex at all. And so really, by just putting the system in place, that can be a very quick thing, and it can start to get results and have some demonstrated benefit very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's true of all kinds of like small businesses, hair salons, restaurants, things like that. These are all businesses that transactions are happening all day, every day, throughout the day. And so a system can impact them very quickly. Typically, those types of businesses, in my experience, are, and there's pros and cons to both, but they're a business that you can set up a system again at those $297, $497 price points and expect to be able to show them, hey, here's how this thing is paying for itself quickly, and get that retention from them because it's obvious the benefits. Those businesses oftentimes economically are not the healthiest businesses, right? The salon may not be the best run salon. And so you do have with salons and that types of, and restaurants and stuff, you have a higher percentage of them that are going to go out of business than a wealth management firm. Wealth management firm's probably going to be around for another 10 years. So you can do either one of those. Again, I just want to make sure that you understand, hey, there are a lot of different types of small businesses out there that are much more just operational and transactional, that you could just put a system in place quickly without having to do a lot of strategy work or, a ton of development of anything. Just drop a snapshot in place, have them using it and being able to show like, here are benefits quickly.
Just sorry, Mike, to interrupt. Just to clarify on that, then, is that saying go for smaller revenue producing clients, but go for volume? So you're scaling, so you do more of them. Yeah. But make the process simpler as a result.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're in a very interesting time with AI rolling out so aggressively here that for the first time, I would tell you that the best businesses to go after are like the most like just kind of blue collar, hands-on businesses, because those are the ones that are going to have the longest durability in the world of AI. Any business that's kind of a knowledge-based business, wealth management, consulting, things like that, those businesses, law firms, CPAs, those industries are going to go through crazy change over the next few years. And I personally would not want to go and target any of those types of businesses. Any like white collar knowledge-based businesses, they're going to go through tremendous change over the next handful of years. Salons, plumbers, carpenters, landscapers, construction, those businesses are largely going to be the exact same businesses a handful of years from now. Are they, of course, going to have AI applied by people like us to make them more efficient? Yes. But the nature of the business is still, I want to go in and have a human being cutting my hair, not a robot cutting my hair. And so, so those businesses are not going to change much. You actually have an opportunity because of AI for the first time to give them the complete infrastructure that they need to actually be really efficient and profitable. And so those types of businesses actually have the best opportunity ever ahead of them. They may not realize it because they may be scared when they're hearing all this crazy stuff going on in the economy and AI and people coming to replace us and all that. But the reality is those businesses have the best future they've ever had if you can go and help them. So For me, personal preference, I've done some of both, Alan. I've done more of the consulting and selling the higher end, a little bit higher ticket engagements and things like that. And then I've sold to businesses where it's like, hey, it's just $297 a month. You sign up, you give me your credit card. It's a simple service delivery. You stay forever. I've done both. I prefer, and I think that the best business that you can build has hundreds and hundreds or thousands of customers that don't require a lot of personal attention, but they're smaller price points versus a smaller number of customers that are higher price point but require more personal attention. That's more of an agency model. And what you end up with is, oh, geez, one client canceled. And now we're like, I just saw 20% of my revenue disappear overnight. I never, ever, ever put myself in that position in business. My rule is if a customer leaves, I should financially barely know, because I've built up a business that has so much revenue coming in smaller amounts across thousands of customers. Right. So you can pick and choose your battle. Like I said, it's not right or wrong. Obviously I'm biased as to what is the better approach. That's my whole methodology. Services that scale, productized services, recurring revenue, lower price points. That's my approach. So I would suggest to you that if you could start to look for a niche that you feel comfortable starting to niche down and saying, hey, I'm going to go get really develop a really reproducible system for these customers that I can just turn on, start getting some impact right away, understanding that some of these businesses maybe aren't going to last as long as that wealth management firm or have as much money to spend as them, but I can get, hundreds of them. That's my approach.
And on that note, my second question really relates then to this foot in the door, but I'm looking at it as, I'm calling them microservices in terms of solving little problems that a business owner has. So I attend quite a lot of networking groups. In fact, I even run my own online one that I attend, for small business owners. And one of the big problems I hear at every meeting is people collect business cards and then do nothing with it. There might be 3 or 4 people. This is how I ended up with a wealth management company, because she saw 3 other people. I'm the only one that followed up, and she left the meeting, didn't do any follow-ups herself, because as soon as she left, the phone was ringing. That was it. Then it became too late, too embarrassed to follow up 3 days later and stuff. I see the need just for whether it's a $97 service or even a $49 service, because it's not going to cost me any more on the system. But just to say, scan your business cards with the Lead Connector app. Let's get them in the system, and then we'll do an automated email outreach.
Totally. I mean, those simple types of things like that are such great demonstrations of the capability of having a good system in place. Because you're right. People get business cards and do absolutely nothing with them. They have no follow-up approach to them at all. There's no strategy. And that's something that you can easily put in place with HighLevel and just absolutely wow them with what you can do. It's also easy because you can demonstrate it very well just by you yourself going out, collecting a bunch of business cards, and then using the system for your own business, and then showing them, hey, you see how I did that? I can do that for you.
And what sort of would you price that at, the $49 level or the $79, $97 or something? Or because you want them to get the system, don't you? And then realize there's all these other things it could do, but you want to sort of untick the boxes. You can't access that until you pay more, sort of thing.
I mean, I personally tried to never charge less than $97 a month for anything. That's just because I feel like for any legitimate customer, if my foot in the door offer is, has some value, if they can't afford $97 a month, then I
They're
you know,
not the right client.
I probably just don't want to. I don't want to waste my time with them. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's you know, you can test various price points though. I've certainly seen, you know, $67 price points, $77 price points, things like that. And I'm sure they do convert better with a percentage of that customer base. So it's worth a shot for sure.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Conscious of taking a lot of your time, so thank you for that. Appreciate the feedback.
No, you bet. I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. We'll talk soon, Al. Let's see here. When going after medical-related clients, clinics, dentists, etc., how do you structure the setup so that a HIPAA agency account isn't needed, or is that a foregone conclusion? Yeah, I think that's a foregone conclusion for that market. I would not try to avoid any HIPAA stuff. I think if you're going to be in those markets, you need to be a HIPAA expert in terms of understanding, you know, what the requirements are from your systems and making sure you have those in place. I'm targeting HVAC. Could I blend in plumbers, electricians as well? Yes, definitely. Very, very, very similar businesses, very similar messages. Yeah, no problem. Interesting. The hands-on skills will be around longer. Makes sense. Yeah, it's something, Darlene, that it's definitely a shift because initially when AI started coming around, you know, there's all this talk of it's going to kill all these small businesses. And the reality is, I think that small businesses are going to be, like I said, most small businesses are going to be in the best position they have ever been in, because chiropractors, dentists, doctors, plumbers, landscapers, salons, restaurants, bars, all of those businesses require a human touch. And you can say, well, Mike, yeah, but you know, there are, you know, you're already hearing in the restaurant industry that they're replacing all of these, you know, cooks with you know, robots and things like that. Yes, that is absolutely going to happen in the businesses that are just the super quick service businesses where there's already no personal touch. And in fact, the personal touch is usually a negative experience, right? The majority of McDonald's or whatever that you go into for like just real quick service food like that, fast food, usually the customer experience is a bad one. Like the employees that you're interacting with don't want to be there, don't care. It's a teenager that's getting paid crummy money. They have a bad attitude, right? So yeah, apply robots and AI to all of that. Great. But when it comes to going to a real restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, or a bar where you actually like to sit down and have human conversation with the people next to you at the bar, or a salon where you actually enjoy going and having the same person cutting your hair and you kind of catch up on those conversations, and to some degree a salon is, you know, like a therapy session for a lot of people. Those businesses are actually going to become more and more important in our lives. And the reason why I say that is because everything is becoming so damn automated, so digital, that what we're craving more and more is human connection and things that are actually done by hand and built by hand, where we can see some craftsmanship, right? That's all going to become more and more important to us. So those businesses are in a really, really good position to actually be, again, kind of their best version of themselves ever. And then you take the AI, you take the technology, and not only can you create efficiency for these businesses like they haven't had, but AI, a lot of people are still thinking of AI as just like this cost reduction thing. But the reality is that AI is essentially like a labor replacement. And so with small businesses, are there some jobs that are actually going to get replaced? Yes. But more importantly, you are now actually going to be able to give them the labor that they've never had, right? most small businesses have never been able to afford somebody to do all the follow-up phone calls that they should. Most small businesses have never been able to afford somebody to have, a process in place of, reaching out to all their customers and getting reviews, right? Most small businesses have never had somebody that could put together outbound email campaigns and make sure that those campaigns go out consistently. So small businesses are actually missing labor. They are missing labor. They can't afford labor because the economics of their models are not very good, right? A lot of the small businesses, their economics just do not justify having all the labor that they need to actually run the business properly. Now with AI, they can get that labor. It's in the form of AI, but they can get that labor. They can have somebody who's doing the follow-up calls and sending out the emails and doing all that stuff in a way that they just couldn't do before. And they can do it at a cost structure that actually makes sense. So when you think about it that way, that you can actually add capability, add labor, add capacity to these businesses without adding much cost structure at all, these businesses are going to have the opportunity to actually be very successful and profitable for the first time. So it's actually a really exciting opportunity. And if I'm starting from scratch today, I'm going after the most hands-on small businesses that I can think to go after. Again, plumbers, chiropractors, dentists. I mean, all these types of businesses that in the past I kind of like, we go, a bunch of those businesses are just kind of a pain in the neck and don't make much money and whatever. But now with AI, you can bring them a whole new set of capabilities that is going to create incredible opportunities for them. So it's a switch in the way that we're thinking, and it's an important one that I think is going to have a huge impact on this market in the years ahead. Again, knowledge-based business, lawyers, accountants, consultants, things like that, those businesses are going to get run over by AI. I mean, I don't know about you, but when it comes to, personally, when it comes to anything having to do with any legal stuff or anything like that at this point, I'm doing 90% of that through AI. And then the last 10%, I probably have to get a lawyer involved because it's legally required that you have to have a lawyer for certain things, right? But I'm doing 90% of that myself with AI. Even my doctors, at this point, by the time I go and see my doctors, I know as much as they do and sometimes more because I'm now doing all of this research. And so their knowledge is no longer like this rare and hard to come by thing. I'm coming in there with that knowledge. And like I said, sometimes I'm coming in with even more knowledge and I'm saying, hey, here's what I think needs to be done. Do you agree with that? Here's my plan. I think that I should be taking these supplements. I should probably take this medication. I might need this surgery, whatever. What do you think? And they're just like validating my plan pretty much. So all of those types of businesses are really going to go through dramatic changes. Now, a lot of those changes are going to be great. But anytime an industry is going to change that much that fast, it can be very hard for you to keep them as a customer, right? Because just like Alan was saying earlier, he's got these customers, well, they're pivoting, they're making some strategy changes. And while that's happening, they don't really want to invest in marketing stuff. I can understand that. It makes sense. While they're trying to figure out their new model in this new AI world, yeah, they may take their foot off the marketing gas for a period of time. And that unfortunately means that you may be sacrificed. I would much rather have plumbers that are dealing with plumbing problems every damn day, every hour of the day for the next 5 years. And I know that that's not going to change. Plumbing is still going to be plumbing, right? And you can say, yeah, but Mike, at some point in the future, it's going to be robots doing the plumbing. Yeah, I get that. That's a whole different time frame. And honestly, when you're thinking that far out in today's world, man, none of us know anything. Like, I mean, other than basic human nature stuff of we're going to need to eat, we're going to need to socialize, we're going to want to, reproduce, like those basic things. Everything else is in flux. When you look beyond, I would say, the 5-year time frame, we just don't know what we're dealing with at this point. So I think everybody has an incredible opportunity to target those more blue collar hands-on businesses over the next handful of years and build a really nice lifestyle business. And we take it from there. All right. I hope that helps. I hope you got some nuggets out of that. I do have to run, like I said, because I do have these doctor's appointments. Got to go get a bunch of tests done. So thank you very much again for your flexibility. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions in between our office hours calls, please post them in our community. If you're not in our community, you can get in there by going to servicesthatscale.com/community. And here we go. Yep, right there. You can go there and join our community. I'm sorry, I got some fly driving me crazy here. And we'll have our next office hours call, I believe, from Mexico next week. So hopefully all my systems work well and we can pull that off. And thank you very much again for being here. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Halloween if you're going out and doing any of that stuff. I'm actually heading to Mexico to go to Dia de los Muertos in Oaxaca, which I'm super excited about checking out. So we'll see you on a future call. Have a great week and weekend. Talk real soon. Bye-bye.